Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Strength Solutions Podcast. If you're looking for us, check us out on Apple and Spotify. We're also on YouTube. Subscribe down below. Then, if you're looking for us on social media, it's Strength Solutions on Facebook, strength.solutions.pod on TikTok, Strength Solutions Empowered on Instagram. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
All right, we have a special guest. But first, I want to say we are sponsored today by Joseph's favorite drink, Bang Energy.
Yes. Joseph, tell us a little bit about Bang here. We're going to open them all at one time. We're going to go. You ready? You ready? Yeah, we're going to go 3, 2, 1. Everybody take a sip.
Yeah, take a sip. Hey, this is not bad.
That's good shit.
Fantastic.
What flavor did you get, Edwin? What flavor?
I got a rainbow unicorn.
Oh, okay, all right.
Am I getting a little horn? Is that what's going on?
The best one. You're looking a little tie-dye right now. Yeah, man, let me tell you guys my backstory with Bang, right? I've never been an energy drink person. Mm-hmm. I was in the military, never drank Red Bull, never drank Monster, none of that stuff. And I'm working for Gold's Gym. I'm a fitness manager. And for whatever reason, I was like, let me go to the coolers and let me get an energy drink. Saw these at the very bottom.
Okay.
Like, no one's down there ever. They've probably been there for years.
No one's drinking the
No
Bangs.
one's buying them, right? This was 2015, okay?
Okay.
So I get Lemon Drop. They don't even fucking make Lemon Drop.
They don't make it anymore, yeah.
Dude, the best flavor. So I get a Lemon Drop and I'm like, this is so good. This is like not even for the energy, it just tastes good. So I literally get addicted. I'm drinking at least 2 a day at the gym. God. There was only like 3 or 4 flavors. There was Lemon Drop, Blue Raz, Cotton Candy, and Star Blast.
I mean, I hate Star Blast. That's my least favorite one.
Well, for Gold's Gym, we had blue, red, and yellow shirts.
Okay.
So I would match my Bang to whatever color shirt I was wearing. And I also bought color shoes.
You're kidding.
I had blue shirt, blue shoes, blue Bang. Yellow shirt, yellow shoes, yellow Bang. I swear you can ask anybody who was around me at that time. So it got to the point to where everyone just got so used to seeing me with a Bang in my hand that they would literally, if I was like looking sad or tired, people just would walk up and give me a Bang. They'd be like, hey, you don't look right. Here's a Bang.
You're not Joseph right now.
Yeah. So fast forward to here we are 9 years later. It is the only energy drink I drink. Yes, they were sued. Yes, they filed bankruptcy. Yes, Monster bought them after they sued them. Do y'all know the story?
So I know that Monster, because we talked about it on our podcast, I think.
Okay.
So I know that Monster sued them, right, for like false claims, right? Because of the super creatine, is that what it was?
Yeah, so it's not on here, right? So they put Fuel Your Destiny on here now. Mm-hmm. It used to say super creatine.
Right.
And there was like no creatine in it at all.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, no one's buying Bang for the creatine.
That's true.
No one, right? Mm-hmm. But whatever. So
also,
Monster won.
What the fuck is super creatine?
It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that was another thing.
I don't know if you're looking beefy like this guy. That's super creative.
What about
Ultra? You know what? That's what it is. All the Bangs I drink.
What about Ultra CoQ10? What the fuck is that?
So I don't know the Ultra, but we know coenzyme CoQ10 is the anti-aging. A lot of people are taking it nowadays, especially with like turmeric and all types of stuff.
Yeah.
Super beneficial with cellular respiration and turnover. So coenzyme CoQ10, like, I don't know if we're going to dive into like nerdy health stuff, but if you're looking for anti-aging properties from like a metabolic standpoint, like coenzyme CoQ10 has a lot of great research.
Very cool.
The flavoring, right? I want to go over this because it's so good. Like a Coke Zero, Sprite Zero.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And all these motherfuckers out here talk about how it's so bad for you.
I think this is what he wanted to get to.
This is exactly what I wanted to get to.
We haven't even introduced this guy yet.
I get harassed.
Yeah.
They're like, you're drinking a Coke Zero?
Right.
I was like, you're eating a cupcake?
Yeah.
For real. Yeah. It is kind of ridiculous because I drink Coke Zero all the time. Like I was hanging out with one of my clients and we were talking about soda. Mm-hmm. And she was like, man, I just love soda. And I was like, fucking grab a Coke Zero then. Like you can still have it. Just drink that instead. I was like, you'd have to have like 100 Coke Zeros a day for like the next 10 years to like have anything bad happen to you.
One little mice study, right?
But like a lot of people like freak out about it. So like what's your opinion on like 0 calorie stuff?
Yeah, just artificial sweeteners in general, right? This one's sucralose. I didn't even know what was in it, honestly. Like I don't even care. It just tastes good, so I drink it. That was the first time I've literally ever, dude. Yeah, it's the first time I've ever looked at the ingredient label right there. If you were like watching me, like I was like studying the shit out of it because I've never looked at it. So sucralose is the artificial sweetener in there. So Yeah, it's so crazy. I was just talking to someone about this the other day. Like, health and longevity and sustainability is so multifactorial. And we live in this world where we want to pinpoint one thing that's causing all of our problems. And depending on who you follow, who you listen to, it's a different one thing.
Yeah.
This one thing is artificial sweeteners. This one thing is carbs. This one thing is protein. This one thing is like whatever, right? And it's so multifactorial. So to your point, we're worried about Coke Zero, but we're not worried about the 3 bottles of wine we drank over the weekend. We're worried about diet soda, but we're not worried about the fucking tub of ice cream you just ate, right? Like, it's so crazy. And so the research literally shows that, and I think I did the math one time because I was pissed off as well. Anytime I'm pissed off, I make like a blunt post about it with the data, right? And the numbers. Yeah, it's like pretty wild. So you've never seen that?
No,
I made one yesterday
man.
about dating. Did y'all see that one?
No.
You didn't see that one?
Should I pull it up right now?
Yeah.
I should pull it up.
I'll break down the data. So the data is like you would have to drink like 15,000 Coke Zeros to have like a cancerous effect, because the research was done in mice, and at the dosage that they gave the mice, equivalent to like human weight, it was like, it's an astonishing number. And it's every day, because the half-life of artificial sweetener is like 18 hours in the body. And so it's like, okay, so now it's not this compound effect that we think it is, but even if it was, like 15,000
That's a fuck ton.
in a lifetime, like, I don't know.
I don't know. I get one in one day.
So how many days have you been? Like, how many days?
It'd be 15,000 days I would need.
You know,
it's a lot of days.
It's a lot of days. It's like 10 years, right? But also we forget that some of the nutrients and some of the things that we do have like the adverse effect, right? So like we all have like a vice, all of us. I don't care who. No one is 100% healthy.
Oh, wow. Edwin, what's your vice? What is it?
Your mom. What is my vice? I don't know.
Brownies.
Yeah, yours is chips.
Potato chips is mine. Yeah.
Mine's chips and salsa.
Yeah.
Chips and salsa.
There you go, dude.
Tortilla chips, man.
What about chips and queso? Are you a queso guy?
I'm not a queso guy.
Okay.
No, I'll do all the cheese in the world, but I don't like liquid cheese. I don't know why.
Why, dude?
Because cheese is supposed to be solid. Probably fucking normal.
Does it come out solid? I tell you that.
That's for sure. So so we all have our vices, right? So I try to tell people, hey, I'm not looking, like, as a coach, right? I'm not looking for you to give up your vice, but I'm trying to combat it with some healthy stuff, right? So it's like, man, like, can we focus on protein, hydration, fiber, fruits and vegetables, healthy movement, like, right? Can we do that stuff? If so, the Diet Coke is the least of our problems.
Right. You're like demonizing the wrong thing.
For
right.
sure.
Yeah. You're trying to choose something that's like, oh, well, that has to be what's bad, right? It couldn't be that I don't sleep at all, or that I drink every day, or that I had this for, lunch. And it's like,
Nothing to do with drinking a bang at 8 p.m.
Joseph said it was okay. So
it is okay. But like, they don't know who I am yet. So we might want
can you introduce
we'll
this
get
guy?
there. Yeah.
Okay,
So tell us, like, you obviously mentioned you were military already, right? You were at Gold's Gym. Talk about like your years of experience, how badass you are, what business you've created.
Who you are.
I know a lot about you, but they don't.
Right.
And then Nathaniel doesn't know anything either.
Yeah, good job, Nathaniel. Catch up, bro. So Joseph Guandolo. I want to preface whatever we're about to get into. I'm not good at anything, and like no one ever believes me. So I have a podcast. If you guys want to listen to Grind to Greatness, and we do it. My intro there.
Who's the guy on your podcast with?
Who is your coach?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Okay.
Jonathan.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a coach. Been a long time coach. Met him at Camp Gladiator. He literally sought me out. It's funny, like, we had our first date, right? Didn't know who this dude was. Let me get in my story, then let me introduce Jonathan, right? So it'll all make more sense. So, in high school, I wasn't very smart. I was kind of like an orphan. I left home at an early age, I was 16 years old, and just bounced around from friends to friends to friends throughout, junior and senior year of high school. Had no direction. Someone was like, you should go to the military. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea. Like, I don't know anything about the military. Don't even really like guns, but let's go. So I went to go be a combat medic. I actually failed the NREMT, so to become a medic. I failed it twice. Finally passed it on the third try. If I would have failed on the third try, they would have like put me as like a dishwasher pretty much. So yeah, right. So luckily I passed on the third try, became a medic, went to Afghanistan 2011, 2012, came back, went on the the bedside, the hospital side of combat, so of medicine. So worked at a hospital, did a bunch of that type of treatment and stuff, just normal, hey, I got a cold, hey, my back hurts, stuff like that. Got out, became a personal trainer for Gold's Gym here in San Antonio, Texas.
How old are you at this point?
I got out of the military when I was 23.
Okay.
I just had my 23rd birthday. I get out, move to San Antonio. I'd never been to San Antonio before. Picked a spot on a map, picked my apartment out over the phone.
Fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, dude. They were like, you want to come tour the facility? And I was like, bro, I live in the barracks right now. Like your apartment is way better than what I'm doing. Like,
I'll tour it when I get there.
Yeah, like I just need to show up, get some keys. I had no furniture. I had a couple boxes of clothes, and I moved here, right? And I went to UTSA, got my bachelor's degree in kinesiology, and started working for Gold's Gym. Now, I've never had a real job. Like,
sorry to cut you off, but what drove you to going into personal training? Like, what was, because if you had no, if you, I'm assuming you joined the military at 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get out and then you just, how did you get into kinesiology? Like what was that?
Let's backtrack. So when I was in Afghanistan, my fellow medic, and we had a unit. Inside the unit, we had two teams. I was the medic for one team, and my buddy was the medic for another team. And he literally was like, hey, I'm going to get this personal trainer certificate from ISSA. And I was like, cool, me too. Like, no idea why. Like, we all like working out, right? Yeah. But, like, military's going to pay for it, so, like, who cares? So we go get a certificate, and then I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, I want to do their whole degree program. So at the time, they have a bachelor's program now, but at the time they only had an associate's. Like I actually got an associate's degree in exercise science through ISSA, which came with so it came with 6 certifications, master trainer, elite trainer, like once you pass the whole like degree program.
Was it all online?
All online.
Okay.
Yep. All online. Back in the day, man, it used to have you proctored all your exams. Now, like, it's not proctored anymore, which is weird.
We could talk about this later.
Okay.
Because I got some shit to say about that too.
It's a money scheme. So, so I already had a degree and 6 certifications. Technically 8 because you get the 6 and that also gives you your elite trainer status and then your master trainer status, right? Okay. So technically 8. So then I go to Gold's Gym, and I've never trained anyone outside of the military ever, and 2, I've never been salesy, and I've never had to talk to like an adult outside of the military. Yeah, and I was the fastest growing trainer at Gold's Gym for like the first 5 months.
What do you think sets you apart?
I just love people. It's so funny because if you talk to me outside of this podcast, I'm like, I fucking hate people. but I truly do, right? And I'm listening to a great book right now called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Great book, but it just like connects with me so much because I genuinely am interested in whoever's sitting across from me. Yeah. Whether or not I'm going to learn something from you to do, or whether I'm going to learn something from you not to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm genuinely interested, and I'm a really quick learner. And so again, I got to connect with people. I had a great mentor, Lawrence. I think both of you guys know Lawrence.
Yes, I know Lawrence.
A fantastic mentor for me because he's a people person. He is a grinder and a hustler, and he's like lives and breathes gym. And like no excuses, wake up at 4 a.m., be at the gym by 5, practice what you preach, so on and so forth. And it was just like beat into my brain at an early age because he was my fitness manager. And man, I took off. And Gold's Gym actually reached out to me to get promoted to be a fitness manager. So I went to go do that. And they offered me the gym Babcock and Callahan off Fort
Town. Yeah. That's the worst one, right?
The worst one. So I was about to get into that. So I literally come back to Lawrence and the training team. There was probably like 10 or 12 trainers. And I'm like, man, they want me to go be the manager for Babcock. Everyone's like, dude, no.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. One, the GM there's an asshole. The gym's dirty. Like, don't go. Like, you'll never bonus. You'll never build a team. Like, don't go. You'll lose all your clients. I was like, I'm going. So I get there in May. From May until December, I broke every record that gym has ever seen. Every month I was there.
Damn, badass.
So I was the fastest growing fitness manager now at that time. I brought all my clients with me. So luckily I had a very loyal following. And then I'm up for promotion again to go open up Lock Hill Selma Northwest Military. So I walk into this interview, a little bit more stakes on the table, a little bit, higher. I was going from a level 1 fitness manager to a level 3 fitness manager. Oh. I was going from 100% commission to now salary, benefits, like all this stuff. And I walk in, and the GM of like one of the most successful clubs in San Antonio was across from me. And he's like, hey, let's say we have this like veteran trainer who's just really content with where they're at. They're not trying to like grow anymore. They're not really helping do floor hours. They're not helping take care of the gym. They're not helping with new customers. What do you do? And I was like, fire them. Like that was my, get rid of them. He's like, well, they have like, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month in revenue. I'm like, I don't care. The revenue belongs to the gym, number one. And so I was like, but it's a toxic person in the environment.
It's going to feed out into everyone.
Yeah. And like not only to the other coaches and the employees, but also the members are going to feel that. Yeah. And I literally was like, fire them. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And if your best trainer is your weakest link, get rid of them.
How is that?
Get a new best trainer, right? And it brings me back to the movie Coach Carter, right? Where Coach Carter's like kicking people out, like he's like, fine, leave. And like, there goes our 2 best shooters from last season. And Coach Carter's like, well, now we have the opportunity for 2 more best shooters, right? And so I thought I had dogged the interview. I was like, man, they hate me. I'm here talking about firing people. And I get a call and they're finally like, okay, like we want you to go open this gym. So I get to that gym January 1. This is 2016. And we break every record from January until October until I left Gold's Gym.
So that gym hadn't existed yet. You like opened it up.
Yeah, we opened it. Okay. So it was old HEB. Gold's Gym bought it, refurbished it, new equipment, all the things, new team, new staff.
It's still there. For sure.
No, it's still there. Yeah. For sure. And we crushed it. So 10 months go by. Breaking records, bonusing, because in corporate world, they set goals. Yeah. They say, hey, here's your goal. So we crush it 105%, 110%, 125% to goal. So then I left. I went to Camp Gladiator. And I pretty much start from scratch. So I was making about $80,000, $90,000 a year as like a 24, 25-year-old kid.
So are you doing Gold's Gym and Camp Gladiator?
No, I left. Yeah.
Why did you leave? Like, why would you leave something that's...
Let's not get into the weeds.
Okay. Yeah. So I was still a full-time student. So I was a full-time student at UTSA.
Okay. While doing Gold's
Gym. So literally people, when we talk about grind and we talk about hustle, like people don't understand that I finished a 4-year degree in 2.5 years at UTSA. And I was a fitness manager and the lead trainer at every gym I'd ever been to. So I was training more hours than any other trainer in the company, like in that gym, right? And so I literally would wake up 4 a.m., go to the gym, train clients till like 8 or 9, drive to school, go to school from like 9 to 2, 9 to 3, go back to the gym at 3 or 4, train until 8 or 9 p.m. at night, go home, study for a couple hours, go to bed, get like 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep, wake up and do it. I worked 7 days a week. I didn't have a day off until my GM was literally like, you cannot work 7 days a week. You have like company policy. I will fire you.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, what? It's so confusing because like I've been working 7 days a week for like the last year and a half.
Yeah.
So I started with Camp Gladiator back at zero. It's 100% commission. You make $0. You open up outdoor boot camps and you just hope and pray people show up.
Yeah, that was, so if I could interject really quick, one of my first experiences with like maybe becoming a personal trainer was with Camp Gladiator.
Okay.
And I was going to school, I was at A&M San Antonio, and I had met 2 people there that were in Camp Gladiator. And they were like, oh, you should come and like try out to be a trainer and all this shit. And at the time I was like, I wanted to do personal training because I was like, this is a great way to make like extra money. I was still going to school. I wanted to be a physical therapy tech. And I was like, all right, fuck it. Like I'll go try.
Yeah.
So went out, did like a couple of their classes because they were like, first you have to like do the classes or whatever. And I was like, okay. And then after a while, I met with, I don't know who she was. She was like some sort of district, like regional person.
Madeline Ebeling.
Madeline. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. I guess that's her name then. Yeah. So then we sat down, we talked, and she was like pitching me like the whole like Camp Gladiator thing. And so she was like telling me, we were like sat down for coffee or whatever. And she was like, essentially the way that I understood it was that it was like, okay, so like you show up, you come in, you have to pay them like an intro sort of like fee to like get equipment, which was like,
I think back in the day it was like $500.
it was $500. Yeah. It was
$500.
like something like that. And it was like, that's what gives you like the flags and the tape and all this shit. And I was like, okay. And then she was like, yeah. And then after that, you have to like bring in people. Like you have to like bring in like 10 people. She was like, it could be your friends. It could be, you know, whatever, just bring in people. And then it was like, then you have to get them to sign, you know? And then, like, man, you can tell me no or whatever it is, but like after a while I was like, this feels like pyramid schemey. Like it almost feels
sure.
Yeah. And I was like, I just feel like if I'm going to get a job, I shouldn't have to like pay you to get a job. Like that seems kind of weird. And then like there was all that other stuff on top of it. And at the time I was just like, I don't even have $500 to give you if I wanted to. And so I was like, I can't do this. Like I can't. And I remember they had I had like a phone call with like, it was maybe her and like 2 other people. And I think that they were really trying to like
pilot.
Maybe. Yeah. It was like some, you know, and they were like, you're going to come out to like this, I guess they have a place somewhere here in Texas where like you go and like learn. Yeah. And it's like, you're there for like a weekend and like you do all this stuff. And
Academy.
Yeah. And I was just
It's
like,
in Austin, right?
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to do any of this. Like, this just sounds not, I don't know. Something just like rubbed me the wrong way. And I was like, I don't think I want to do this.
It wasn't for you, right? Like,
It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. Yeah.
So I will say, like, because you said you were like, it was like your first experience with a personal trainer.
I was in college. And so I think that I must have been max like 20, 21, you know, like pretty young. Yeah.
So I will say, and I will always say this to new aspiring trainers or new aspiring anybody, go to a corporate company and learn.
Damn,
that's what you say all the time.
Just learn.
Yeah.
Like, do not try to be an entrepreneur
you
straight out the
goals,
gates.
right?
Yeah. Dude, if it wasn't for goals, I would have never been successful at Camp Gladiator. And if it wasn't for Camp Gladiator, I would never be successful where I am right now.
Yeah.
So and it's like the same thing with the military. If I would never been in the military, I would have never learned discipline. So, you know, I always tell people, like, set yourself up for success. I understand your dream and your passion is like entrepreneurism and I want to make my own schedule and I want my own company and blah, blah, blah. But if you have no experience, you need people coming through the door. You need to understand processes and systems and price points. When I was charging $80 a session at Gold's Gym, I go to Camp Gladiator, I'm charging $60 a month. You know how easy it was for me to sell? Like I was charging people $3,000 a month and you're asking me to charge $60 a month? This is cake.
Yeah. Everybody can do that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Right? So, but if you're like, if you don't understand your value, number one, and also what else is out there in the world, like it's really hard to sell. Even if you're like, well, $60 a month. And I'm like, well, dude, I'll pay, like, I don't even want to pay $2 for a bottle of water. Right. And I'm like, I could be dying of thirst. Right. So learning sales and learning value and learning like what you as a coach can bring to the table and learning your strengths and weaknesses is a huge, like, it's so huge. And I wouldn't have learned that without Gold's Gym and without Camp Gladiator. So first year with Camp Gladiator, I'm at 100 clients. We call them bold, which is about $50,000 a year. Now at the same time, I had also started freelance training again out of a gym called Train Anytime. And so I was doing $50,000 a year with CG, and I was doing another $50,000 a year with one-on-one clients. So this is like my first part where I started making 6 figures. Yeah. It was like on taxes, like on paper, I'm making 6 figures. Because Gold Gym, I was only there for 10 months. I made about 80,000. And so I never actually saw 6 figures. So here I am, 26 years old. And I make like my first 6 figures. And since then, I've never made less than 6 figures, knock on wood. That's not wood. But yeah, it was like my first opportunity to really be like, man, I'm not going anywhere. Like, this is where I belong. Because I was going to be a physical therapist. Well, first I was going to be a doctor. Then I go and I'm like, all right, well, I'll just be a physical therapist. Then I start making 6 figures as a trainer. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, why would I want to do anything different? Yeah. Right. So, year 2 with CG comes around and I start Facts Over Fads Nutrition, which was my nutrition company. I was bullying people in a boot camp setting. I was bullying people in the gym and they just weren't seeing progress. And I was like, what is going on? Like, how do you pay me so much money and we sweat and we have all this pain every single time we see each other? And you're like not losing weight, not losing fat. We're getting stronger, building endurance. Absolutely. You feel more confident in the gym setting, but where it really matters most in the mirror, we don't see, or on the scale, we're not seeing the results.
What people are there for,
what people are there for, right? So I was like, let me dive into this nutrition thing. So I took a deep dive into it. And yeah, so about 2017 until now, I phased myself out of Camp Gladiator. They went, they were going to launch nutrition. And I said, cool, let me try to get some more information. I had a couple calls with some of their HR team who was in charge of building the product. And they were like, we don't really know what we're going to do, but we know we're not going to do what you're doing. And I was like, literally, that's what I was told. Like, that's what was told me. I'm not going to mention any names, but so I go,
if you do, I'll
off air. So I was like, cool. Like I still have to protect my nutrition business.
Why did they even say that? Like, what were you doing that they like didn't want to do?
Well, because like Madeline and stuff like that, they were like, oh, well, Joseph has a really successful nutrition company. So if you guys want to launch nutrition, you might want to see what Joseph is doing. So that's why we had this interview.
Okay.
So they're literally like, nope, we're not going to do that. And I was like, okay, cool. What are y'all going to do? And they're like, we don't know yet. We just know it's not that. And I was like, okay, well.
Sounds promising.
Yeah. Like, I was like, well, I'm still going to protect my company, and I'm not going to get into a non-compete with you guys, and I'm not going to give you a portion of my company, so I'm out.
Yeah.
So I walked away from Camp Gladiator. And this was after COVID. This was 2022.
I remember like seeing that happen.
Yeah.
Like I remember you like talking about it often.
Yeah. I'm like super transparent with everything. So I walked away, and I kind of gave like a 2-month notice, and that was more out of like respect for my clients to be like, hey, I'm going to give you 2 months of knowing like I'm not going to be here after this certain date, so on and so forth. So after that date happened, that 2-month date, it was 2 weeks before the CEO of Camp Gladiator calls me, Jeff Davidson. I can drop his name. He doesn't care because he can back up this story. And he's like, hey, dude, Tyler Wagner reached out to me and says you know what you're doing with nutrition. And I was like, yeah, I already talked to your team, and they said they didn't want to do what I was doing. And he was like, no, I think they're wrong. Like, I think we're going to do exactly what you're doing. And so he was like, I want you and Tyler to come together. Tyler's the vice president, and I want you to come on board as well, and let's build this thing. And we worked out the finances and stuff, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm on board. So I became the national director of nutrition. We built the nutrition product, systems, meal plans, everything. And then we launched it like 3 or 4 months later, and we added $8 million in revenue overnight.
Christ, yeah.
Overnight. And so then about 1.5 years goes by, and Camp Gladiator's struggling, and they're like, hey, we can't afford to pay you anymore. And so they made a bunch of layoffs, but I was part of those layoffs. So last November or October timeframe was when like a big layoff happened, and I was part of it. So separated, Facts Over Fads, 100% separate again. CG is still doing their thing, still have CG Nutrition, but now I'm just here with Facts Over Fads.
Is it still the same product? Like, is it the same product you built with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Same product, same price point, same system, same app. Same everything.
Royalties?
No royalties. I got a little severance pay. Most of my pay was on the front end.
Okay.
But yeah, so no royalties. But yeah, I got a little bit of a severance pay as I walked away. And again, it was all cordial. Like there was no bad vibes, no bad feelings. Like, yeah, I wish them the best. They wish me the best. I'm still best friends with Tyler. We still, sending memes back and forth every day. And I have a lot of coaches who I'm really close with as well that I help grow their businesses. And again, it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So how many coaches do you currently have on Facts Over Fads?
8. So we're I have one full-time coach and a personal assistant that work directly for me and help me monitor and manage my clients. Okay. And then I have 6 other coaches who work underneath Facts Over Fads as like independent contractors. They just represent like my brand.
And these are all nutritional coaches.
They're all nutrition coaches.
Okay.
They're all nutrition coaches, meal plan, nutrition counseling, calories, macros, all that good stuff. And they use our meal plans. They kind of use our brand. And then I do the lifting on the back end of like emailing, education, financing, and like payment processes and stuff like that. So I'm like the HR essentially for them.
So what is Facts Over Fads? Like what sets y'all's nutritional setup different than if I were to just go to any old person and get a meal plan, or if I do something like Factor or any of those things, like those meal, home type things? Like what are you doing different than those other companies?
So I guess there's multiple comparisons. Like Factor, like meal prep, food being delivered to you. We don't do that. I'm not making your food and fucking cooking it and shit. And I can barely cook my own food, right? Yeah,
I don't know. You look like a chef on Instagram.
Do I? Like chicken cooking ramen noodles and
eggs
tuna,
and rice on there.
Yeah, all day.
That's my favorite shit, man.
Yeah, so kind of what we do, and I think what sets us apart, and what I really like just push into my coaches is being client centered. Client-centered, client-focused, and just being like, what do you need to be successful in the nutrition realm, right? Everything aside from cook the meal for me, right? We can't do that. So we do calories, we do macros, we do meal plans, we tell you exactly what to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but we give you a template, and we only give you two. We give you 2 templates for a month. And the reason why is because I want you to really focus on trying to hit these sets of calories and these sets of macros through all different types of foods. I give you the template. You can absolutely follow the template to do whatever you want to do with it. And like, if you want to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli every day, great, go for it. 99.9% of people can't do that.
No, it sucks.
Yeah. So what we do is we provide you with that template of chicken, rice, and broccoli, but tons of substitutions and varieties for you to make a decision whenever you want. So if you don't want chicken, here's a list of other proteins you can have. If you don't want rice, here's a list of other carbs. We also don't tell you how to cook it. We do not do recipes, because if I give you orange chicken recipe, that's really hard to change and still hit your calories and macros. The more complex the recipe is, the harder it is going to be to hit your calories and macros. So we don't even do that. I literally, and I'm telling you all, if you go sign up, it's going to be chicken, rice, and broccoli. But I don't expect you to eat that every day. It's just a template. And I need you to stick to the portions more than I need you to stick to the food. And everyone's like, well, I just need to know what to eat to lose weight. So I'm like, cool. Tell me what helps you lose weight faster, chicken or shrimp? And they're like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, neither do I. So fucking have both. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm going to give you chicken, rice, and broccoli. If you want shrimp, rice, and broccoli, go for it. Like,
as long as it hits that much protein, or it says calories, or whatever it is. Yeah.
So we try to dumbify it and also give you as much variety as possible at the same time by not giving you variety. By me making it so simple, I actually free up your variety. Yeah. Right?
It's not restrictive.
Yeah. And so we give you tons of files. So when you sign up, you get 12. You actually get 12 files that provide you with all sorts of seasoning, sauces, marinades, substitution files, fruit substitution videos, how to create your own templates. Like, a lot of people like MyFitnessPal because they can go in, they can build a template and save it, and they can pull it up in the future. We give you videos and resources on how to do that in our app. And then you have 24/7 coaching communication through the chat. So you send me a message, like, you guys can hear my phone going off. It's probably our clients. And it's just, hey, family wants to go to Chili's tonight. What do I do? That's what we're here for. Hey, I'm trying to make a better decision. I normally get this, but now I want to get that. Is that the right decision? Yes or no? Like, right. So that's what we're there for. Trying to coach people that, hey, we have to make this doable. And the more restriction I put on you, the less doable it's going to become long term.
It's funny. So, like, you say the less or the more restriction you put, the less doable it is, right? But when people come to us, they almost want, give me every restriction possible.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, they're like,
so crazy.
Tell me exactly what to eat all the time. Tell me what exercises to do. Tell me what, and it's like, I wonder, in your opinion, I guess, why do you feel like people come for that? But the answer is almost the exact opposite.
I love the keto diet. And here's why. It's because it's so clear cut. Don't eat carbs. Oh, that's fucking easy. So people think that the more restriction you give them, the more boundaries, the more clear it's going to be. And if it's clearer, I'm obviously going to see better results, which might be the case, but you're going to be miserable. Yeah. And it might work. Right. So I tell people all the time, like, if someone comes up to me, and we have clients who have been with us for 3, 4, 5 years, we'll go through ebbs and flows. Let's say they have a wedding coming up and they're like, I need to drop 10 pounds in the next month. What do I do? And I'm like, follow your meal plan 100% of the time. As that's clear. That's very restrictive. Chicken, rice, and broccoli every day for the next month. And they're like, well, you don't need to like change it. I'm like, no, you've been making so many substitutions. You've been doing all these recipes. Like, that's adding the variety that you want, but it's slowing down your results. So if you want faster results, be more strict. Follow a more restrictive plan. Boom, there's your 10 pounds a month. And I always set that expectation. I say, hey, you can follow these templates verbatim, not change a thing, and see 10 pounds of fat loss per month, because that's what we set your deficit at anyways, about 2 pounds per week. So But I know you're not going to see 2 pounds per week because I'm telling you, make substitutions, get the family involved, use these seasonings and sauces, so on and so forth. So we shoot for like 4 to 6 a month, right? Yeah. So that's like realistic. And then again, if you want to dial it up.
Dial it up.
If you want to dial it back, dial it back. So,
I mean, whatever. That's what we preach in a podcast all the time is just keep it simple, you know?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we like to say a lot is like the diet that works the best is a diet you're going to do.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like, and so I was at UTSA on Tuesday, and I literally said that same thing. Like, if I'm a coach and I'm talking to, you know, probably a stadium of 100, 150 kids, and I come and tell you, you can't have pizza anymore, and pizza's your favorite food, and it's like your family's Friday night routine, what? You're going to be like, screw you. You're either going to fire me or you're going to do it behind my back.
Yeah.
That's the only 2 options.
Or they're going to listen to you and they're going to be miserable.
Or they're going to be miserable. Yeah. But I'm still going to get fired in a month because their family's like, it's like, this is our tradition.
Pizza night.
So how do I, as a coach, again, I look at you and I become client-centered and you tell me, hey, Joseph, Friday night's pizza night. Like, it's not going to change. And I'm like, cool, let's build a plan around that and really talk about, like, how can we maximize Monday through Thursday? How can we do some healthier things over the weekend so that your pizza night on Friday is not going to ruin your results?
Yeah.
So you've helped a lot of trainers get results in the financial realm because trainers obviously struggle with that. They're not salesy. They want to go into training because they want to be helping people. What do you do? And I know you have Unconquerable as well, right?
I got a lot. I got Unconquerable. Right? So I've got Best Coaches.
Yeah. So tell me about, like, if someone's out there that's a trainer who wants to join you and get some coaching underneath you, what's the process like? What's the business? And stuff like that.
So one-on-one is Unconquerable. That's my mentorship program. We do monthly toughness challenges. So like right now we have a hit your body weight in protein and then hit 30 grams of fiber challenge going on every single day. That's just for anyone who's in the group. So the motto of Unconquerable is mindset, wellness, and success. So I've got to get your mind right. And the only way I can get your mind right is by beating something into your brain every single day. Do something tough every single day. Builds confidence, builds discipline. It's kind of like the military version of me is that group. On Facebook, it's free. You guys can go to Unconquerable and just search the group, get into the group, and you'll just see a bunch of hard shit happening.
This is for trainers or this is for like clients?
This is for everyone.
Okay.
So now you can, within Unconquerable, you can hire me as a trainer mentor, as a business coach is essentially what I will do. So depending on how long you want to stay with me, and I'll always have a conversation before you sign up of like, what stage are you in the training entrepreneurial world and how much work do I think you need? If it's just like, hey, I just need like a month of just tell me exactly what to do. I'm going to go do it. I've already got all these systems in play, blah, blah. You might only need a month. If you're like brand new and you're like, I don't know how to get an app. I don't know like what my clients want. I don't know my price points. I need a website, so on and so forth. I'd say like, give me 3 to 6 months. It's somewhere between $800 to $1,000 a month. We meet every single week. You have things to do. I have things to do. And I also provide whatever you struggle with from an entrepreneur or even just a person. I will provide you education to go do. And it could be a podcast. It could be a book to read. It could be a certification. I'll say, hey, I think you will really benefit for this, whether you do it or not, totally up to you. And so again, if you're kind of already up and running, I will just optimize what you're doing. If you're new to the space, I will build you a business from scratch.
And that's cool.
That is really cool. I think more people need that too, because it's like you said, you weren't very salesy. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
I wasn't very salesy at all. You know, I'm sure Edwin struggled with it also. And I feel like that's like the biggest thing that trainers struggle with is when I was going through school or my certification, I remember reading that book like 5 times back and front, my textbook. And I was, I went through ACSM and I was like, when the fuck do I learn how to sell this? And I was also like, when do I learn how to teach someone how to do an exercise? And I was like,
when do you learn how to build a program? You also don't.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to read this again. Like maybe I missed it. And dude, it just wasn't there. Yeah. And so when I went into the training world, like I shadowed at a couple personal training places. I went to physical therapy and all that other stuff. And I was just like, dude, like, I don't know how to do any of this. Like, I don't know how to, if I got a client right now, I wouldn't know what to do with them, you know? And, one of my friends right now, she's going through a certification process, and she called me the other day and was just like, dude, I'm going to do it. And I was like, fuck yeah, do it. Like, I honestly, I think as a person, she would be an awesome personal trainer. Like, I was like, you definitely have the personality for it. And I was like, let me tell you right now, though, go start reading about selling and like go start like buying programs or looking at programs and learning how to build a program, because that's the shit that I didn't know. Yeah. And I didn't learn it until I met him. You know, like he was the first one that gave me an actual program, and I was like, oh, this is what it looks like. And then I did it, and like in 3 months I had like better results than I had in like 2 years of like fucking pushing machines around. Yeah. You know,
it was so funny. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Andy Galpin. If you guys don't follow him, he's a great guy. And he was like, the people who follow the wrong program still make better results than people who wing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
Because and we talk about this too, where I've seen people do some stupid ass programming and they're still jacked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I mean, maybe it comes down to consistency or
it comes down to hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a program that you are like monitoring progressive overload and you're monitoring workload and work volume and time under tension and so on and so forth, and you're like, hey, did I get stronger from week 1 to week 4? Yes or no? That is way more, even if it's in the wrong direction or the wrong exercise selection or whatever, that hard work is more beneficial than winging the right exercises but not tracking your progress.
Yeah.
So the program is all about tracking progress, and it gives you that, oh crap, I better put another 2.5 pounds on the bar or move the pin another level down because my program told me to.
Yeah.
Right? Where a lot of people won't get there.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because that seems like simple, right? Like you would just assume so like hard. That's just how it is.
Hard work is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's
it's like when I was when I first started working out, I would go to Planet Fitness, and my goal was just to like do the most amount of weight the most amount of times that I could. And I was just
so
like,
beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah. And it like definitely made me stronger than I was before. You know what I mean? I saw results, you know, was it stupid? Hell yeah. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was like, I'll do every machine in this line, you know, and then I'll switch to the next one.
But it's so crazy. So, you know, I struggle with back pain. I just got my VA rating. I'm 40% disabled from my back. Like,
that's pretty good.
Crazy,
that's
right?
pretty good,
pretty
bro.
good.
Yeah.
I'm
you should go for a whole 50.
I am. Because I need my DV plate so I can get free toll roads in Austin. So I got to get
you
free parking
need
at the
that
airport.
shit, bro.
So no. You just go. You get you just complain, and hopefully they agree with you, and hope I can get 10 more %. But like working on core stuff, right? I know like you guys like do a lot of functional and a lot of like safety stuff like that.
Whoa, don't use that word.
Edwin doesn't like that. Yeah, don't say that.
Because everything's fucking deadlifting.
I have to beat that out now.
So I was doing trunk rotations, right? So like lay on my back, I bend my knees up, and I just drop my knees left and right to work like my quadratus lumborum, like obliques, all that good stuff. And I did 5 each direction. And I was like, whoa, I'm smoked. You know what I mean? And so it's like, man, it's because I avoid core exercises.
Yeah.
Like I just don't do it. Because we also get into this mindset, and you guys can argue with me if you want, but like, well, squats work your core and deadlifts work your core and blah, 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 blah. And like, yes, it does. But until you actually focus on core, you don't really know what your weak points are.
Yeah, it is totally different.
I completely agree with you.
Because I'm kind of like going through the same process right now where I'm trying to like get weights heavier, you know, and stuff like that. And so I'm looking at programs, and it's a lot, you know. And yeah, is my core working during a squat? Yes. Yeah. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of times where I'm like, man, I know my core is not as strong as it should be because I don't sit down and do leg raises, or I don't sit down and do whatever, or like work on my pelvic tilting or whatever. Yeah. Like when I'm doing like back extensions and stuff, dude, it's so fucking hard to like try and tuck underneath and get it. Like I can't do it.
Dude,
and
it's so hard.
It's so hard to do them right. You know what I mean? And so there's
I don't know what you're talking about. It's easy, bro.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do them
all the time. That's
cool. Good for you, Edwin. Yeah.
It's like your posture's so good. Yeah. But it's so like I work out with my buddy, and the other day we were like, man, we need to start doing extensions because like when we go to deadlift, when we go to do squats, like our back is jacked,
dude. Yeah,
it's just jacked up. Yeah, and so it's not like we're doing it wrong.
Right.
It's just like those muscles are so weak they can't keep. Like I'm trying to squat 400 pounds, and my back is like, bro, you get 5-pound dumbbells. So we're like, all right, let's start incorporating hyper extensions. So we go do some hyper extensions. The second set of 10, just body weight, my whole back was locked up.
Reverse hypers?
So, no, not reverse. Regular hypers.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my gosh, and we talk about this. Well, we talk about this a lot in Best Coaches. So Best Coaches is the group setting of Unconquerable.
Okay.
So $25 a month. We jump on bi-weekly calls, and I help you grow your business in a group environment. Right. So it's open to any coach, open to any healthcare provider, whoever's just trying to deliver value to people or patients or whoever. And so we were talking about metabolism the other day and cellular metabolism in each individual muscle fiber. So, this is the whole concept behind like, just because I do bench press doesn't mean my leg muscles are going to get stronger. Just because I do like an ergonomical cycler for my arms doesn't mean like I could cycle with my legs, because metabolism is different in every single muscle fiber. So when people are like, well, why is your back locking up if you work out all the time? And I'm like, well, if I don't work my spinal erectors in that way, my metabolism doesn't know how to process glucose, which means it doesn't know how to process lactic acid, pyruvate, and lactate, which means that shit just sits in the cell. And if I can't generate ATP, my muscles can't relax. So a lot of people don't understand what ATP does. I don't know if we want to get nerdy or not.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's get deeper.
Okay. So ATP actually allows the muscle to relax. This is why rigor mortis is a thing when you die. When you die, you can't generate ATP, so you clench up, you flex, and your body can't relax because ATP allows the muscle fiber to relax. And so if your cellular metabolism can't process energy because you're not utilizing the muscle in that way, then it just sits there and it just locks up.
It just has more tonic.
It's just spasming essentially. And it's waiting until we push lactate out of the way, we push pyruvate out of the way, and we get more ATP functioning, we get more oxygen in, whatever the case may be.
Is this like the theory behind like knots that people get?
Could be. That could also be nervous system, right? So like nervous system stimulus. And that could be a protection mechanism. But for this specific example, if I never do hyperextensions, it's not necessarily that my spinal erectors are weak, which they are, but it's also because my spinal erectors can't process energy in the way that I'm asking it to. So when I go to squat and my spinal erectors are holding pretty much an isometric contraction for 10 reps, and each one of those 10 reps is maybe 3 seconds, right? Well, that 3 seconds is creatine. Okay, well, my spinal erectors can process that. But when I go do 10, 12, 15 reps and I switch to glucose, and my body's like, well, shit, how do I process lactic acid, pyruvate, lactate? It can't do it. And it has to be trained. And this is where, like, I always tell people, like, hard work and consistency is key. Like, 10 reps suck right now, but if I do 10 reps every day for 3 months, like, it's gonna be nothing. And everyone's like, oh, you got stronger. I'm like, no, you didn't. You just learned how to process energy better inside of that muscle fiber.
Yeah, I remember when I first started squatting, I would do like 3 reps and be like, and I would be like, how the fuck do people like just rep this shit out, And I was doing like all of 100 pounds, and for me, it was like I was dying. Yeah, and it's like now I can do it fine, you know what I mean? But it's that process.
Yeah, and then going back to like the nervous system, right? It's like if you're a new client, and I don't know if you guys say this, I don't want to like put words in your mouth, but if you're a new client and you're working with a coach, and you're like, again, you're brand new and your coach, and you put them on some sort of strength program, whatever the case may be, and a month goes by and you went from doing 100 pounds to 120 pounds, 130 pounds, whatever the case may be. You made some gains and your trainer goes, you got stronger. You built muscle. No, you didn't. All you did was your body learned the movement, number one. So movement efficiency is a huge thing. If you don't know how to squat, your first squat's going to suck. If you're squatting 2-3 times a week for a month, you just got better at squatting. Like that, it has nothing to do with you built muscle and got stronger. It's just you got better at the movement pattern. So that's a thing. And then muscle metabolism is a thing. And people don't understand this. And it's like your body just got better at processing creatine for energy, processing carbs for energy, or processing fats, whatever training modality you're doing, right? It's the same as like when I take off running. Did I really get faster, or did I just get better at processing fat for energy? Did my metabolism become more fat adapted or carb adapted, right? And so metabolic adaptation is so fascinating to me, and we can also manipulate it with nutrition, which is also really fascinating to me. But so that's why I tell people. And then the third thing is, you didn't build muscle. Your nervous system just got better at firing. Yeah. Your motor units just got better at firing. You know, we take your leg muscle and we say, hey, you have 100 motor units. You probably can only fire 5. Yeah. But if I train you to fire 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I didn't build muscle. You got stronger because of your nervous system adaptation, but you didn't build muscle, right? It was just you learned how to adapt and fire more motor units. Yeah. So 3 big key components of like in the beginning phases, like 3 awesome things to look for. But if your trainer is like, you fucking built so much muscle, and like, nah, no, you didn't.
Yeah, I think a perfect example of what you're talking about is seeing Olympic athletes who can snatch a lot of weight, and then you look at a bodybuilder. The bodybuilder is way bigger, muscular, but he can't use as many motor.
Yeah, I was watching a YouTube video a while back. I think it was like Larry Wheels and like some other dude, and they had brought this rock climber to come like work out with them and do like a back day. And like the rock climber could pull the same amount of weight that those guys were doing. You know, is he like 100 pounds less than them? Hell yeah. But he's efficient in that process, right? He's worked grip strength or pulling body weight or whatever it is. So, and they were all like, whoa, it's great. And I'm like, what is it though? You know? And yeah, especially like with new clients and stuff like that, like I'll tell them like, there's the adaptations that you make at the beginning are all nervous system. You don't put on any muscle really, you know, because how are you? Because number one, you came to me and you weren't sleeping well. So like, you're probably not doing that still, you know, you're probably not eating right still. So how are you going to put on muscle? You know, it's just not possible, but your body becomes so much more efficient at the movement or your technique improves or whatever it is. And so you just get better at doing the thing, you know, it's like practicing. I talk a lot about like, it's like learning guitar. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like you come in and you learn the songs or you learn how to move or whatever it is and you become better at doing that thing, you know? Yeah. And so
practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
So it's the same. I mean, if you want to be a better runner, go run. If you want to be a better squatter, go squat. If you want to be a better cyclist, go cycle. Like do the thing over and over and over again. And again, it's not because you just built massive amounts of muscle. It's just you got better at it. You got more efficient. Your nervous system learned how to fire. And it's the same concept. Like if you deadlift is a great example. If you deadlift, whichever traditional or sumo,
Cheating.
right away.
I don't do it. But whatever deadlift you do most, do the other one and watch how fucked up you're gonna be. And it doesn't mean that you're weak in that area, your muscles aren't developed in that area. It's just different. It's just a different movement pattern, and your nervous system doesn't recognize it.
The first time I tried to sumo squat, I was like, "Whoa, it's just
so
hard."
weird.
Yeah, and I was like, my adductors were like hurting. And then the first time I tried like snatch grip deadlifting too, I was like, "Whoa, I got to drop the weight like 60 pounds." You know what I mean? And it's not because I suddenly became weaker. Yeah. You know, it's just a different pattern. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, how do you do this?
Yeah. It's so awkward. And again, practice makes perfect. And so again, it's like, you know, when people are out there buying booty builder programs, I'm like, was it really the program or was it just you now deadlifting 3 times a week and you're doing hip bridges 3 times a week and you're doing lunges 3 times a week? Was it really or was it just repetition of what you wanted to focus on? So I tell people all the time, like, you don't need to hire a trainer to build an area of the body. Just go do it more often and it will grow. Well, if you support it nutritionally, right? And sleep and all the other stuff. Whatever, sleep. Who does it?
Just drink a bang, you're
good.
Drink
a bang, you're good. Yeah, more. No, you know what? You know what's crazy is, you know, obviously there's a lot of great things going on, I think, in the exercise world from a research standpoint. And one of them is sleep. And it's like, I think the research was an astonishing, like, you are 70% more likely to get injured if you're tired.
Oh yeah.
Just simply
I believe
just
that.
tired. Yeah. And so I tell my clients all the time, like, a lot of people want to do like chest day on Monday or like leg day on Monday. They want to tackle like their bestest or their hardest workout on a Monday. But Monday's also the day where you sleep like crap because you had a shitty weekend. So your sleep Sunday night is all off. Your sleep cycle is all off because you've been staying up till midnight or 2 a.m. all weekend. And then now you're trying to go to bed at 10, but you can't. So you're tossing and turning. And then you got to wake up at 5 to go to the gym or go to the work when you used to sleep in all on the weekend. Don't do your hardest workout on Monday.
I never really thought about that.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Because you're going in tired. And everyone's like...
because everybody does the opposite.
Yeah, because everybody puts the hardest shit at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like,
on Monday, everyone's either doing chest or legs.
Yeah.
Go to the gym and just watch people.
Well, guys versus girls.
Guys are doing chest, and girls are doing legs. But save it. Like, save it for Thursday or Friday. Like, where your sleep cycle is more consistent. Like, your nutrition might be more consistent. Because also over the weekend, your nutrition is shit. Your hydration is probably crap. And so it's like, but Monday through Friday, we're pretty consistent. Like, that's what people don't understand. Like, I bet Monday through Friday, people are like, man, I eat pretty healthy. And I was like, Monday through Friday, I bet you're kind of right. The weekend is where you throw everything off. So why would you have a terrible weekend, terrible sleep, terrible nutrition, terrible hydration, my hardest workout on Monday? How does that make sense?
Right now I'm doing a program that I wrote for myself and it's like 4 days a week. And I put my hardest day, which is like my deadlift centric day, on the 3rd day of the week. Perfect. Yeah, because I was like, there's no way I'm coming in on Monday and fucking you fucked up.
And then you also gotta judge like quality of life or like stress throughout the week, right? So it's like some people are like, don't do it Friday because Friday you're like exhausted. You're like ready for the week.
Friday is my recovery day.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, like I think Wednesday or Thursday is like a sweet spot for whatever your focus is. Whatever, like I want to go the heaviest, I want to lift the most, I want to do the most volume, like whatever the case may be. Because again, you try to do it on a Monday, like 70% more likely to hurt yourself.
Yeah, makes sense.
Dang, that's crazy. I like to tell people, win the weekend. If you can win the weekend, it'll help you out tremendously.
Yeah, and I think that doesn't mean like treat the weekend like Monday through Friday, even though it could. But it just means like, did you get enough protein? And sleep is so important. And again, I'm not even a big advocate for sleep, but I find myself talking about sleep more and more. Like practice, or what is it? Like do as I say, not as I do. Right. Yeah. So like over the weekend, if you normally sleep from, I don't know, let's say 10 to 6, and that's like your 8 hours, right? Then just try to shift your sleep patterns like 1 or 2 hours plus or minus, or one on both ends. Like if you're used to going to bed at 10, don't stay up until 2 a.m. on Saturday night. Like don't do that. Yeah. Okay. But if you can stay up in like an hour later, like 11, and then still wake up around 6 or 7, that's better than shifting everything 4 hours.
Yeah, because then you're like jet lagged, essentially. You know, you're like trying to catch up.
You're jet lagged every week, pretty much.
Every week.
I was using this app for a while called Rise. It was like a sleep tracker. It wasn't really a sleep tracker.
We're not talking about your penis.
That happens every morning, bro. Yeah.
Lucky? How old are you?
I'm gonna be 28 this month.
Oh yeah. I remember when you were 28, bro.
It still happens. Oh, that's
He's
as long as you stay healthy. As long as you stay healthy.
Yeah, my birthday's at the end of the month.
Hey, I just sent you the article about Viagra, bro.
Oh yeah, everyone was like, take Viagra, bro, and I was like, I don't think
all-cause mortality goes down, man.
Dude, what was a vasodilator?
Yeah. It was like reduces your risk of dementia or something like that, right? Yeah.
Yep.
What the fuck was I even talking about now?
We don't care.
Rise, yeah.
We've pivoted to Viagra.
Yeah. Wait, let's all take a Viagra right now.
Your pants first.
Right now? What's going on over there?
So I was using the Rise app, and it's like not a sleep tracker, but what it does is it tracks this concept called sleep debt. And so what it is that like, so you use it for like a week, right? And it kind of gets your data. And then at the end of the week, it's like, all right, you have 10 hours of sleep debt, right? And so I was like, okay, cool. Like I'll take a couple naps throughout the week. This sounds badass. Like I love taking naps anyway. I should be able to do this. So like I did that, right? And I was like, okay, so I'll set this up. And I think it tracks like when you're asleep by, if your phone has been like just sitting there for like 2-3 hours, then it's like, okay, maybe 2-3 hours ago he went to bed or whatever. Dude, I took like a 3-hour nap, woke up, and it was like, oh, you reduced your sleep debt by like 0.5. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
And I was
I've been out for 3 hours.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so it really taught me the detriment of not sleeping and how hard it is to like make up lost sleep. I remember when I was in school, I took like a psychology class and they were like, sleep lost is sleep lost forever. Like that's what they say. Yeah. And I kind of believe it. I think you can make it up, but you don't understand how long it takes to make it up. Like for me to reduce my sleep debt from like 10, 11 hours to like 3, which is where it said like you can like that's cool, like everybody, you're never gonna be perfect. It took me like 2 months, and I was like, fuck, dude.
So I'm sure that sleep debt, it's not quantitative, it's qualitative.
Yeah.
So people are like, well, I only got 4 hours of sleep last night, so I need to sleep 12 hours tomorrow to get my 8 plus the 4 I lost. But it's not about that. It's mostly about REM sleep and deep sleep.
Yeah.
And you don't spend that much time in REM or deep. So if you got no REM or no deep sleep,
even if you slept 8 hours or whatever it is, right? Yeah,
you're still only gonna like minutely increase it. So that kind of makes sense to me. But also like we forget that your body is it loves routine. And, everyone's like, well, I'm always tired around, like, I don't know, let's say lunchtime, and I work from home. I had a client the other day that was telling me that. And I was like, do you take naps? And like, yeah, I normally I eat, and I have like a 15, 20-minute nap. I'm like, well, no shit, you're tired because your body's used to taking a nap. Stop taking naps. Right. And it's like,
that makes me tired, Joseph.
Well, but you have to like, so there's this like mental toughness, like you have to push through it. Like, and so it's the same thing of like, if you go to bed at 10 p.m. every night, guess what happens about 9:30, 9:45? You start to get tired, right? You notice it, right? You're like, you're like, dude, you're like, when like a buddy's like, man, we're going to go out and party. And you're like, bro, my bedtime. Like, dude, I am not going to make it.
So as you're saying this, I'm thinking this. So like, let's say someone's on a routine, right? And this person sleeps, 5 hours every night. Okay, they are on a routine every night. It's 5 hours.
Hello.
Okay,
I'm Joseph.
And then if you let's say compare them to someone who sometimes sleeps 8 hours, another night they sleep 3, another night they sleep 10. Do you think that the person who sleeps 5 hours a night routinely is going to feel better?
1,000%.
Yeah, you think so?
1,000%. I know it for a fact.
Yeah.
I was on another podcast and I was arguing with like one of the viewers. It was like a live stream as well, so like questions were also coming in.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I was literally arguing with a dude who's like, you can't tell me that 5 hours of sleep is better than 10. And I'm like, yeah, but you did 10 once, and then you did 4, and then you did 9, and then you did 6, and then you did. You're all over the place. Your body loves routine. It loves it. We are so routine. It's the same reason why I wake up in the morning and have a bang. It's a routine. Like if I don't have my bang in my hand for the last 9 years, I feel so weird.
I think
like,
it's also something to do
something's
like
missing.
mental, right? Like where it's just like, this is the way my day is set up.
Yeah.
This is how it's going beyond the physical effects or anything like that. Right.
Yeah.
There's just something like, it's almost like a mindfulness, you know?
And it's almost like, so, you know, for instance, like Easter, right, was last Sunday. And,
Did the bunny bring you anything?
no, bro.
Butter.
Bunny hasn't showed up in a while for me. But like, I slept until 11 a.m. I never sleep till 11 a.m.
Damn, that's late.
And dude, I got
the day's
like,
gone, bro.
I sat in front of my computer for like 2 hours trying to wake up. Like, I was like, I gotta get some work done.
Yeah.
Like for anyone wise, like I'm single, I have no kids. Easter is like not a thing for me.
Right.
So I'm just like, like I was like, how much caffeine can I drink as fast as possible to like get out? Because like I slept so long, it was out of my normal routine. Because I'm a 5-hour person, maybe 6, and it was so outside of my routine that it wasn't good.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you take any supplements? I take magnesium to help with my sleep, like L-theanine, GABA, anything like that.
Yeah, no, I don't. But I hugely support it. So all of my clients who struggle with, because I can lay down. I also don't do anything in bed besides sleep and sex. And a lot of people are like scrolling on their phones, watching TV, reading a book, so on and so forth. So my body again loves routine. When I lay my head down, it's night time. Like there is no tossing.
I've heard that, like where if people who like, let's say live, like, have you guys ever heard of tiny houses?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, you've all seen them, right? They're like the size of this fucking room. And it's like, you have to have separate, at least spaces within the house where you do certain things. Like this is where I go to bed, or this is where I work, or this is where I do whatever. That's why some, like people don't have TVs in their room, or don't have your computer in your room, or don't have whatever, because then it becomes everything. And when it's time to go to bed, your brain's like, well, I can't because there's all this other shit that I normally do in this room, right? And so bedtime just isn't bedtime.
Or if you guys are listening, like the one thing to take away is your body loves routine. It could be anything, man. I was dating a girl, and for whatever reason, we like to have sex in the morning. And I would go work out with my buddies, and I would come home, and we did it for like a week. And then like, let's say like 7 to 10 days go by. On day 11, like it almost didn't happen, but I was so turned on. And it's like 7:30 a.m. And so I'm like, it's like we were like both tired or whatever the case may be. And I was like ready to go.
Yeah.
And so it was just like a routine. Like I did it for a week straight. Like my body now
Why
craves
do
it.
you think the body loves routine? What is it about? Is it
Hormones.
evolutionary? Is it hormones? Okay.
It's hormones. You have to regulate hormones, sleep hormones, sex hormones, hunger hormones. You have to regulate it, and to regulate it the best, you have to be in a routine. If you throw off your routine, if you throw off your nutrition, if you throw off your sexual health, if you throw off your workouts, your hormones are going to take the biggest hit. And it's the same thing like where people say, well, please don't fight me for this, but like menopause, right? Menopause absolutely makes things really difficult, not because of it's like your metabolism slowed down or whatever the case may be. It's that the irregularity of hormones is now throwing off your schedule and your routine. Sometimes menopausal women sleep for days. Sometimes they don't sleep at all. Sometimes they have all the energy. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they can work out. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they have cravings. Sometimes they don't. That is what's making life so hard. It's not that, that my metabolism slowed down or whatever the case may be. It's the irregularity.
It's
of
not the
it all.
menopause itself as a condition.
Yeah,
it's
just
everything
the
else.
irregularity of your sleep, your nutrition, your hydration, your mental health, like all like hot flashes, cold flashes, like all the stuff. And so we know, like again, it's just like what temperature do you sleep with the house at night?
Below 70, probably like 69.
Cool. What about you?
Nice.
What about you?
I have to have it cold. It's got to be
cold?
like at least like 70.
Cool. Turn
Under,
it to
under
80.
75.
Turn it to 80 and try to sleep.
Fuck no, dude.
Why?
Dude, because
Why?
it's too hot, bro.
Dude, my house is like 68 every night.
Yeah.
I lived in Afghanistan for a year. I slept like a baby. It's 110 degrees in a tent. Still slept like a baby. It became a routine, right? Like the first week or two was super uncomfortable.
So again, it's not so much that the temperature has changed, it's just that something is out of routine.
Something's out of routine, right? So then you go sleep at a friend's house, and you're like, bro, it's hot in here. I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna sleep terrible. It's so funny. You guys know I go to Mexico a lot, bro. Sometimes the hotels, like they're like, oh, our AC's like it's working, but it's like not getting cold, and the room's like 75, and I'm like, I can't sleep. I'm drenched in sweat, and I can't. I'm tossing and turning, and so on and so forth. And so it's just like your body just craves and loves routine. And so again, that would be my biggest takeaway is routine.
Yeah, we're the ultimate like adaptable machine, right? We
Yeah.
adapt to whatever environment we can.
Homeostasis. Well, like homeostasis is a thing on all levels.
Yeah.
And people, I don't think we put enough focus on it, right? And so that's why it's like, I'm not worried about creating the perfect program for you. I'm worried about creating a program that you can actually stick to. Because if you can stick to it, you're going to see the most results, the longest, forever. And so people are like, well, again, like, what do I need to eat to lose weight? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you like to eat? Like, let's start there, you know? And if I can create that routine for you and I can make life as easy and flowing as possible, your results are going to be 10 times better.
Yeah. So with your dietitian work, because I've recently, last couple of years, have been just tired all the fucking time. And I decided finally to get my blood work, and I have low testosterone. Yeah. So do people get like their hormones checked with you and you're like, hey, go to this doctor or something?
Yeah. No, but we're about to. So luckily I have a connection in Austin now who can do it virtually. Mm-hmm. She's a nurse practitioner. She can put in these labs for you, like wherever you are, right? And then we can see. Now, based on the symptoms you bring to me, I can tell you what they're probably going to say. You know what I mean? And there's some things that we can fix and there's something that we can't, right? And so, again, like if I'm like, oh, it sounds like you have low T. Oh, but your nutrition's pretty on point. Your training's pretty on point. Like, okay, we need to go get exogenous testosterone, right? We need to get you pills or capsules or injections or whatever the case may be, because we're doing everything that we can do within our power. And same thing for females, right? It's like, oh, we're doing all the things. You're tracking your food. Your calories look good. Macros look good. Training schedule looks good. Sleep looks good. Hydration looks good. Micronutrient content looks good. You're still tired. You're still sore. You still feel weak. You still have foggy brain. Let's go get your hormones checked.
That was me.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. Like with your process through it too, is like, I usually look at Edwin and I'm like, this guy, he does everything right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I look at him and I'm like, I wish I could be more like that, And so times where he'd be like, dude, I'm just fucking tired or whatever. Or I couldn't sleep or, whatever it is. And I would always be like, that's weird. Like like that's kind of odd. And so like, then when you said that you had low, I was like, damn, that kind of makes sense, I guess.
What was low? Do you remember your number?
366.
Mine was like 440. Mine was pretty low.
Yeah, I think mine, when I got checked,
yours was lower than mine, right?
No, so mine, when I initially went in, was high. Mine was like 440, I think, because I remember thinking, because they were like, if it's 400,
like 200 to 800 is like normal.
Yeah.
I hate that word.
It's not. Yeah. But yeah, when I went in, I was like, if it's lower than 400, I was like, I'll just fucking do it. And they were like, it's 450, and I was like, fuck. And I was like, how do I decide?
So, another great doctor, I don't know what he's really called, but someone the other day in a podcast that I was watching called him like a longevity specialist, Dr. Peter Attia.
Okay. Oh yeah. I know a guy here who does stuff like that.
Yeah. Super smart, but he was like, hey, testosterone replacement therapy in the dosages prescribed to you, obviously not like abusing steroids, is 100% healthy. No prostate issues, no increased risk of cancer, none of that stuff. But it does come with like, hey, you have to get your blood levels checked regularly. That's like the most expensive part. Sure. Like my blood labs, like for the whole panel was like $300, and then like the testosterone was like 150. And I was like, dang. So doing testosterone replacement therapy, and for females as well, in the dosages prescribed by you, getting all your blood work done, and also managing all the other stuff like sleep, hydration, nutrition, like has been shown, new research, to be 100% healthy.
That's nice to hear.
So if you're like, hey,
oh no, I did it. I did it after a while. Yeah, but it was a moment where I was like, oh man, like I don't know, I'm scared about doing it. Like I got to be on this kind of for like sort of forever. You know what I mean? And it was, I usually tell this story, but I remember sitting in the office and like the doctor came in and like sat and talked with me like for a long time. So it was pretty nice. And she was like, what's holding you back? And I was like, I don't know. I think it's like a lot of stuff. Like it's kind of mental. There's a couple of things. And she was like, well, you could take it and probably feel better, or you can not and continue to feel like you are right now. And I was like, damn. Yeah. And I was like, all right, give it to me. And so, because at the time it was like, I had like no sex drive, like zero. That was my biggest one. Like there was moments, I talked about this on Don's podcast where I was like, maybe I'm like asexual, man. Like maybe I just don't care. And that wasn't the case, but yeah.
Could be a thing.
Yeah, it could be, right? And so there was moments where I was like, I guess this is just the way I am. I'm just tired a lot. I'm just, like whatever. Cause also like, I wasn't sleeping stupid, or I wasn't getting drunk every night, or, I wasn't being dumb. But I just like didn't feel good. And then it was like, man, I remember the first time I had the injection, I think there was also like a bunch of adrenaline that I was like, oh my God, I just did it. But I was like, fuck, like I feel so much better. And then it was like, after that, like even Edwin would say like, man, I can tell like when you haven't, like when you skipped a week or when you skipped 2 weeks or whatever it is, because like
It becomes like very.
I'm like, hey Edwin, I'm a victim.
But it's just like going back to routine, right? Like you miss an injection, like how fast do you feel off?
Yeah.
Right?
Like this last week I missed one, and then I was just like, man, I fucked up, dude. Like I can't do it, and so like Saturday I gotta get back on my shit.
Do you, is maybe I don't know, not a personal question, but like, is your prescription, is it twice a week, once a week? Like how often do you?
Oh, good question. I'm not gonna tell you. No, I'm just no. So when I first did it, I did it for about a year with this one company, and it was once a week. It was a once a week injection, and then I also took an anastrozole, like half a tablet of an anastrozole. Yeah, I didn't take it at the beginning, but at one point they had done my labs and they were like, "Hey, your estrogen's kind of high. Like we think we maybe want to do this." And it was already like compounded in the testosterone itself, but they were like, "You might want to take a little bit more." Yeah. And after I did, I was like, "Oh, okay, now I feel better again." Yeah. And then so we did a podcast with her name is Dawn, and she runs a company called Renew Wellness out of Bernie, and so she's a hormone replacement specialist person, things like that. Super great, love her, and like man, just the way that she talked about it and the way that everything, I was like, I don't think the place I'm going to is very good. Like I think you might be a lot better. Yeah. And so now I do it twice a week. So I do twice a week. It's pretty much the same dosage, but just cut in half. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. So even if you if you feel ebbs and flows during the week, go to 3 times a week. Same dosage.
Okay. Yeah.
Same dosage, but break it up.
But just break it up into 3.
Right. So it's normal dosages are 1 ml per week, right? You can do half and half. You can do a third, a third, a third. You can do 1, and that's it, right? That's just like normal protocol.
I think I started at 0.9 with my initial thing, and then they like brought me down continuously because they were like, well, this is really high now. And then so I think right now I'm at like 0.7. Yeah. So I do like 0.35 twice a week, and then I do an anastrozole still on like the second day. And then for some other stuff, there's another thing they prescribed me to, so I'll take that one as well. Yeah. And so it's pretty good, man.
Having clarity and direction with that type of stuff, right? Because and this is like, I mean, for everyone, but I think largely women, they're so like against like going to get hormonal therapy. I don't know why. Guys are like, bro, what, testosterone? Oh, right? Like, exactly what Nathaniel said. Like. Yeah, like where do I go to get some? So yeah, I think like hormone optimization. I've been using the word optimization.
Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah, right. So hormone optimization is so powerful. And I have a buddy, military buddy of mine, overweight, high level of body fat, works out, but had back surgery where he couldn't walk. Like got out of back surgery, was on bed rest, went from bed rest to a wheelchair to like a scooter to crutches to a cane to like, all right, you can walk. Right?
He did the whole thing.
So I'm like, bro, go get your testosterone and go get legal tests. Like, I bet your you've been on bed rest for like 3 months. Like, dude, he went to go get that 700. 700. I was like, dude. I was like, dude, you're
he wakes
potent,
up in the morning.
Bro. Yeah. I'm like, bro. I was doing all the things, working out, like nutrition's on point. My test was like 400.
Yeah. That's
like,
what it was.
It's crazy.
I was like, what the fuck, man? This sucks. But I mean, it is the way it is, right? And like now I feel way better, and it's like part of my life now. You know what I mean? It's like I have to take this step. It like, I think one of the main things for me too that I would tell Edwin a lot about is that it literally changed the way I would think.
Bro.
It changed the way that I like perceived things. It changed the way that I would plan. It changed all this stuff to where I really was like, had more of like this victim mentality. Like you could probably go and like, what is this?
Nothing, bro. Inside joke.
It's like,
you could probably go back and listen to the first podcasts.
Dude,
right?
You could go through our first year, and you would see he's like, this and that, like it's just not fair, and blah, blah. Now it's all, oh man, you could do this on your own. We got this. And blah, blah, blah.
Imagine that.
It's crazy, and it makes me think of like the way society is today. How many people are low in testosterone?
Bro, you hit me in the head, bro. I'm just kidding.
The victimhood of people today is because our hormones are so off.
1,000%.
Lifestyle is part of it. Lack of sun.
I think there's a conspiracy, bro. But that's another podcast.
That's another
But I mean, so just research, Google, and find a research article: testosterone and depression, testosterone and mental health, specifically in men. I trained a nurse practitioner who is the smart. She was so smart, she was weird, You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
We met
nurse
people like that.
practitioner, and I'm like, it's hard to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Because like I'm talking to her. She's one of those like she can't look at you while she's like thinking.
Okay.
So I would like be talking to her, and she would just be like.
Maybe she just fucking hated you.
And then there was always like a weird 15 to 20 second gap until she would answer back.
Bro, Edwin, we know,
Dude,
we
we
know,
know someone
we
like
knew
that.
someone
It's
like
so
that,
crazy,
yeah.
right? She was my most favorite client because I would nerd out with her all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And she was like, oh, like you're depressed? Oh, take testosterone. I'm like, she's like, testosterone's the number one antidepressant in men.
She's
And I'm
coaching
like,
you now.
I'm like, what? Yeah, she was. Like, she was paying me and coaching me. It was like super weird.
You figured it out. You figured it out, bro.
No, that's it. Yeah, right there. I was like, yeah, who needs insurance, right? They're paying me. And so, you know, and I never realized it until I created Unconquerable. Dude, I created Unconquerable when I was on my highest dosage of test. And I was like, fuck, I gotta do all this shit. And I was like, boom, boom, boom. And then like I lowered my dose, and I finally got off. And then I was like,
Yeah.
like, meh, my life
Do you
sucks.
take it now or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It really
What's your
did.
dosage at?
Fucking too high. No, I'm just kidding. I do 1 ml a week, but I break it up into thirds.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, it really, that was the biggest thing that I noticed, that I just started thinking differently. And that was the weird part where I was like, oh, now I get like what my brother's always talking about, or now I get what Edwin's always talking about, or all these people who are
You get
like,
that sniff of that girl that goes like,
Pheromones, dude. Pheromones are a thing.
dude, that too.
Pheromones
So
are a
like,
thing.
especially like in the sex drive department too, it's like with my partner now, dude, I'm like, dude, is ready to go all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, but before I think I just like didn't even register it, you know, because or even if I did, I was like, I'm tired, or like, I'm whatever, you know. It's super weird, man, but it's been a good process so far. Yeah.
Being, are you, have you been in the relationship for a while?
The one I'm in now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've also known them for a super long time. But I guess this is going on like 3 years coming up in
About 3
September.
years,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm single, and like I date a girl for a while, then a new girl, whatever. I will tell them in the beginning of the relationship, like, dude, don't touch me the wrong way or look at me the wrong way, because it's gonna be on. Like,
attack your ass.
Like, I'm like an
Yeah,
18-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, you better be careful.
Yeah.
And so, but like pheromones play a huge role, I think, as well, but also just hormone optimization. But I also do notice, like, if my sleep is off, my nutrition is off, my hydration is off, like my sex drive does decrease, even with testosterone.
Right, that just makes sense,
It's so
right.
crazy. So when we talk about males, I really want to create some. I've been paying a lot of attention to. So we talk about sales. You're like, hey, trainers need help with sales.
Yeah.
I would tell you guys, go follow Andy Elliott, an aggressive sales guy, but everything he preaches is like so spot on. And it starts with like confidence in yourself is what he preaches.
That's really what it is, right?
Yeah, it's super important.
Yeah, because
like confidence in yourself.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I asked the client for like too much money, where I was like, they're gonna say no. Like, I know that I shouldn't have asked for that much.
I remember this moment.
Yeah, I remember like before, I was charging like $35 for a session, because I was just like, that seems pretty reasonable. Like,
and then $35 an hour. Like,
Yeah,
that's like,
and then you also like base it off of. I know that a lot of times I was basing it off of like my budget, and I was like, I could probably afford that, so they could probably afford that, you know. And I remember I was working with this girl for a little while. We had done like our like intro sessions at the place where we were all at for a while, and I remember like I stood there, and she asked me, she was like, how much does it cost, like, for, you know, a session? And I stood there for like a second, and like all this happened in like a second, and I was like, I'm gonna say 65. And I was like, $65. And she was like, okay. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I just do it. I was like, yeah, okay, let's, you know, because I always remembered, I think I've heard from someone, they were like, don't celebrate it. Like, don't be like, oh, yeah. Just like act like, oh, yeah. And so I was like, holy fuck. Like, that was pretty cool. And then after that, it like built a little confidence where I was like, okay, I know that if I could get her to pay $65 an hour, I could probably get someone else to do it. And also, it's the fact that now I value myself at a higher amount, you know? And I think that number one, that was a big thing I struggled with too, is just like valuing myself at all, really. Like, I was always like, I'm not good enough for that.
well, the cool thing about being an entrepreneur, being a coach, is you're going to go through seasons. I think a lot of times these new coaches are like, well, I value myself at $100 an hour. And I'm like, but you got zero fucking clients. So your value is zero.
Yeah.
So anything better than zero is profit.
Yes.
So charge $30 an hour, charge $35 an hour, go get experience. Because
make money.
people want to see you training.
Yeah.
And then when people see you training, they're like, oh crap. And then you have client testimonies and results, and they're going to refer you people. Right now you're getting no referrals, no experience, no nothing, no money. But you're like, I value myself at $100 an hour.
They don't.
I'm like, no one does.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. I love the confidence, but you have nothing to go off of. So I always tell, because you have these coaching mentorships and stuff, and they're like, you got to do high ticket coaching. And I'm like, this person has zero experience, none. And like, even if you get one high ticket coach or client, and you like charge them $800 a month for whatever you're going to charge them for, and I'm like, I would rather 10 at 50 than 1 at 800, even if the money's less. I got 10 opportunities to get referrals. I got 10 opportunities to get testimonials and to let them get results. I got 10 opportunities to build my brand instead of 1. And so it's like, there's ebbs and flows, right? And so, at Facts Over Fads, like, you can entry levels like 60, 70, $80. If you want to work with me, it's $200. To build you a company, it's $1,000, right? And so like, I have multiple areas like to plug people into. If you can't afford $1,000, great, I can charge you $200. If you can't afford $200, great, I can charge you $60. If you can't afford $60, I'll give you a discount code to make it $40, right? Like, I don't like, value to me isn't a price point. It's not a level of income. It's an opportunity for me to gain experience. It's an opportunity for me to change your life at whatever the cost is. And me changing your life is more important than the money you gave me. Because if I can change your life, I guarantee you're going to give me at least 5 referrals. At least. But if I'm so caught up on a dollar amount, I will never get that opportunity. And so with Best Coaches, like, our first call, we had like, I don't know, 9 other coaches on the call at the time. I was like, guys, I've done more free work than you have ever imagined.
Oh yeah.
If you want it like free, you want a free session, you want a free session, you want a free meal plan, you want a free consultation, free. And even at this point now, everyone's like, well, like, you're like a top coach. Like, I make $300,000 a year. Like, I'm still charging people $60 a month. Like, could I raise my prices because the reputation and the experience like supports it? Absolutely. But I would lower my barrier of entry. I would go from 300 clients down to 100 because affordability, especially in today's economy. So value is great. Experience and opportunity is way better. So put yourself out there on all levels, right? And so then again, like, if you get a referral, then maybe you charge that referral $10 more than you charge the person that referred them. And you slowly level your way up that way. Because they like, hey, I charged you $40 a month. Oh, like, you referred me a friend, it's now 50, right? For the friend. I'm not going to change your price because one, I'm going to value our relationship. That's another thing which companies get wrong all the time. They're changing their subscription price for all loyal people, and they're losing customers. Why not just leave their shit alone and charge new people the raise? Like, maybe even charge like, you're like, well, if we raise all of our prices by 2%, right? Like, you just lost 15% by doing that.
That's fucking crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I've talked about the same process happening in other places that I know, but it's like, also I think there's something to it if you keep their price the same, because now they're like even more bought in because they're like, now, oh, I'm like an OG. I'm like a family. Like, this is my shit. Like, I get charged less because I was here for a long time, you know, and you can like hang that, and people love that shit.
People love it. Loyalty. Loyalty. Dude, I was looking at a client stuff the other day, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I was like, I was applying a referral discount because she referred someone. Her price point was $31. Wow. I was like, dude, you've been paying $31 for 6 years. Imagine if I went to her and I was like, hey, it's now 80 because that's what our normal average price is. Yeah. Like, there's no loyalty there. There's just no respect.
And so, and also, like, you don't value them anymore.
Yeah. And so, and then, you know, trainers get like, so there's some other companies that are going through some price changes, right? And the coaches are talking to their clients and they're like, well, if you valued me, you'd be okay with the price hack. Like, and I get it. Like, the coach doesn't have the power because the company's making the change and they just have to roll with it. But like, that's also pretty rude. Imagine being married for 5 years and then you just walk up to your spouse one day and you're like, you need to do shit differently because I said so. And if you valued me, then you would do it.
I just did that the other day.
I'm sure that went over great.
Like, the amount of disrespect, like, right? Like, you're
beyond
demanding
something
else, like more, in a care, like, it's like, absolutely grow together, like, like, challenge them that way. But like, demanding something more in like a way that's like literally disrespectful. Right.
Yeah.
It would be like, I don't know, if you like split the bills, right? Like, down the middle, 50-50. 5 years in the relationship, you're like, you're going to do 60 now and I'm going to do 40. Just because. If you loved me, you would fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like, that makes no sense.
It's like, people would be like, wow, they're so manipulative and mean.
Yeah. Like, that's what companies, like Netflix, just raised their prices. And you're like, on everyone. And everyone was like, well, fuck Netflix. I'll go to Hulu. It's cheaper. I'll go to Amazon. It's cheaper, right? And And so it's like, man, like where's the loyalty at? Like I just, if any of you guys watch my stories today, but I'm like so passionate about loyalty and customer service. Like I could never imagine going to that client and be like, hey, you're only paying me $31. I value myself at $200. What are you gonna do? You're gonna quit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, so I always like have multiple price points, and use them as tools to gain experience and gain opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect place to end it right there. Joseph, where can we find you? And we'll have all your stuff listed at the bottom of this episode.
Cool. Joseph Guandolo on all platforms. I'm the only Joseph Guandolo. Or Facts Over Fads on all platforms. Just Facts Over Fads.
Okay. All right, guys, if you like what we're doing, please share, like, subscribe. We're on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and review us. Then YouTube, you can subscribe and leave a comment down below. And then if you want to email us future fitness questions at strengthsolutionsempowered@gmail.com. Then if you want to find us on social media, on Facebook at Strength Solutions, on TikTok at strength.solutions.pod. On Instagram at Strength Solutions Empowered. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Until next time, guys, what?